Oh, the Bud Light team is having a rough month, aren't they? All right, let's see what we can break down from this. They broke the cardinal rule, know your audience. Bud Light's archetype is the common man, common woman. Joe and Jane Americana. This is backyard barbecue, hardworking, blue collar, like Americana. This is the beer version of Dunkin'. America runs on Bud Light. And the second that they tried to step into, as altruistic as I believe that their intentions were, this broader, bigger market, they basically turned their backs on the values of this incredible audience that has supported them for decades. And that's going to be incredibly hard for them to recover from. I don't suspect that Bud Light is going to make a full recovery, maybe ever. I think Miller and the rest of the groups that have been waiting in the wings to go toe-to-toe with Anheuser-Busch are going to run in now, and they're going to steal that mind share, and they're likely to keep it for some time. So going back, you can't, even in the most altruistic sense, turn your back on the things that the core group that buys from you values. And in doing that, they've made a critical mistake.
Can I get you?
Bud Light? It's a good night, man. Cheers.
Cheers.
Budweiser presents Real Men of Genius. Real Men of Genius. This Bud's for you.
Let's play everybody's favorite game. What the fuck kind of beer can we drink now? Nope. Negative. Tastes like piss. Sorry, old friend. Owned by the same goddamn company. America.
Hey, babe, you want a beer?
Sure, yeah. Bud Light. You know they're talking shit about this on the internet.
Don't worry about it.
All right. You know, I've had a long day. Make my day right here.
Good.
Oh my God. Oh my goodness, babe. This ain't gonna work. I'm downloading Grindr.
All right, guys, so we got another update on Bud Light because we have some real concrete numbers coming in that can give us some insight on just how bad this boycott is. Now, we know the boycott is bad, it's terrible, because they've already canned 2 executives at Bud Light / Anheuser-Busch. Now, these executives haven't been fired, okay? They have been suspended, okay? These were marketing executives. So again, this is in direct response to the backlash they're getting for sponsoring a transgender TikToker that can't be talked about on this platform anymore, okay? So we know that their sales must be an absolute disaster, and we're gonna get into the numbers here, but I just want to say up front that, guys, this is probably one of the more successful conservative boycotts that I've seen in a long time, okay? You have 2 woke marketing executives that are on leave. Maybe they'll be fired, maybe they won't be fired. All indications are that Bud Light is having a rough time. And this is great for conservatives because it proves that we do, in fact, have some bite in our bark, okay? Because Wall Street was betting that we would fold, okay? They were betting that we didn't have the cojones to stick out a boycott against Bud Light. I mean, that is probably what Bud Light thought as well.
Of course. So it's no surprise the brand is down double digits over the last couple of weeks. I don't think anybody's necessarily happy that Bud Light, a traditionally apolitical brand, partnered with somebody who's very controversial. And that's one of the problems we're in the situation that we are. And one of the reasons that Anheuser-Busch has started to make moves to move beyond their current marketing team. That being said, there's a more fundamental problem that's going on right now, where Anheuser-Busch has to choose who it's going to be accountable to. Will it be its shareholders or its so-called stakeholders? And let me explain. Historically, Anheuser-Busch has been accountable to its shareholders, which are people like firefighters, doctors, lawyers that invested into companies like Anheuser-Busch via 401ks or their pension plans. And those companies, they rewarded those shareholders by creating great products and services, servicing those customers with brands. But over the last couple of years, there's been organizations like BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard that have pushed this new model of stakeholder capitalism, asking companies like Anheuser-Busch to be accountable to all these so-called stakeholders, political organizations, activist organizations. And they do that by implementing ESG or environmental social governance policies in corporations that ask them to get involved in these controversial issues. But unfortunately, when you try to be everything to everyone, you end up being accountable to no one.
Yeah, so that guy was a former executive at Anheuser-Busch, and I think that he was spot on in regards to kind of why you're seeing this happen. However, I'm going to give you guys a breakdown of the numbers in regards to what is at stake here and why all of corporate America, not just Anheuser-Busch and Bud Light, is going woke. Okay, why they're pushing LGBTQ on young people. Okay, because the numbers are clear. Okay, on why this is happening. And I'm gonna tell you guys in a minute. But first, we got to talk about these numbers from Bud Light, which are absolutely disastrous. Bud Light has suffered a staggering sales hit following the beer brand's controversial marketing tie-up with transgender influencer Dylan Mulvaney, with the latest data showing an alarming 17% drop according to an industry research firm. The latest sales data from NielsenIQ and Bump Williams Consulting shows that Bud Light sales fell 17% in dollars, while volume dropped a whopping 21% in the week ended April 15th. Wow, so sales fell 17%. 17%. Again, you know, it'd be nice if that number was 30, 40, even 50%. I think it's just getting started. I think that over a longer period of time, it's only going to get worse, because now Bud Light, or drinking Bud Light, is now a stigma, right? If you guys didn't notice in the beginning videos, yeah, when you drink Bud Light, people are going to believe things about you, right? If you drink it. I mean, my uncle, he was drinking a beer the other day. I think he was drinking like a Miller's Light or something like that. And I said, I hope you're not drinking Bud Light. He was like, no, I ain't drinking no Bud Light, right? I don't drink Bud Light. We don't drink Bud Light, okay? Because everybody knows. Everybody knows that's the beer that everybody's boycotting. If you drink Bud Light, people going to look at you with the side eye, right? They're going to have questions about you, okay, and some of your preferences. That's sharply ahead of the 6% drop in sales dollars and 11% drop in volume that Bud Light had suffered during the week ending April 8th, the 7 days that immediately followed the April 1st launch of the controversial Mulvaney campaign on social media. Quote, these numbers are staggering, according to an April 23rd report from Insights Express, a beer-focused newsletter. Quote, right now, this is an extremely difficult scenario for Anheuser-Busch, and the Bud Light brand, and for AB distributors. The Mulvaney campaign has released a torrent of negative publicity for Anheuser-Busch, which announced Friday and over the weekend that the marketing executives responsible for tapping Mulvaney, Alyssa Hernshaw and Daniel Blake, are taking leaves of absence. Yeah, so again, that's funny because they try to blame it on some low-level woke marketing employee that went rogue, right? Nah, the executives didn't know. This is what they was telling people. The executives didn't know. When everybody with common sense knew that, okay, yeah, definitely the executives knew. You don't sponsor somebody like Dylan Mulvaney without having the top of the company sign off on it. I mean, that's just basic brand management. Meanwhile, Bud Light's competitors are cashing in on the mess. Bud Light lost 6.7% of market share last week, while Coors Light and Miller Lite are up 18% according to the newsletter. A week earlier, Coors Light market share was up 10.6% over the same period, and Miller Lite up 11.5%. Coors Light and Miller Lite were once again big beneficiaries, according to Insights Express. Yeah, so Bud Light is getting kicked in the ass. Okay, they're getting destroyed. Let's read this. During the NCAA basketball tournament from March 8th to April 1st, it was the clear leader of all light beers at bars and other venues, up 15% according to Brewbound, a trade publication which cited data from Beer Board. But after the Mulvaney campaign launched, demand for Bud Light trailed other light beers by 6% at bars and restaurants. Overall, Bud Light's volume declined by 34.7% at bars, restaurants, and other venues between April 2nd and April 15th, according to Beer Board. Bud Light dropped to the number 4 draft beer from number 3 during the second week of the controversy, switching places with Coors Light, Brewbound reported on Monday. Yeah, so again, they're getting crushed. They're getting absolutely crushed. Which brings me to this conversation right here that I really want to have, which is, why are these companies going woke? Okay, why are brands like Anheuser-Busch and Bud Light going woke and using LGBTQ marketing? Why are we seeing the LGBTQ stuff everywhere? Okay, well, the reason why is because the LGBTQ population, particularly when it comes to the target demographic, aka young people, honestly is massive. Okay, it is massive, And like I told you guys before, there's a massive transfer of wealth that is happening to that generation. And I'm going to actually show you guys the numbers because the numbers are staggering. This is much bigger than you guys think, okay? But it's going to make complete sense why this is happening. First, I want to show you the numbers here in regards to quite literally how gay Gen Z is, okay? As 20% of Gen Z identifies as LGBTQ. That means 1 out of every 5 Gen Z children, because that's what they are at this point, right? They're gay, right? They're LGBTQ. Again, that's staggering, especially considering how for millennials, you have 11.2%, a huge drop for Generation X, which is 3.3%, baby boomers, 2.7%, traditionalists, 1.7%, and you have the overall population, 7.2%. But again, Gen Z is almost 20%. It's up over 2 years from 2020, when you had Gen Z been about 16%. 16% of Gen Z was LGBTQ. So again, this is a huge, huge demographic here that the woke advertisers are saying, oh, well, Generation Z is overwhelmingly LGBTQ friendly, right? Not only that, like I told you guys, we have the great transfer of wealth happening, okay? This is something that is well known in the financial services industry, okay? That baby boomers are transferring assets down to the next generation, to millennials and Gen Z, which is overwhelmingly LGBTQ friendly, okay? Well, how much is the numbers? What are the numbers we're talking about here? Because these numbers are going to put a whole lot of things in perspective for you guys. Now, as boomers retire, require long-term care, and eventually pass, their collected wealth, roughly 30 trillion to 68 trillion, will be transferred to their children, grandchildren, and other beneficiaries. This great transfer of wealth is predicted to affect the U.S. economy as a whole. Yeah. So that's the amount of money we're dealing with here, guys. 30 to 68 trillion is going to be transferred to a generation that is overwhelmingly LGBTQ friendly. And this is why you're seeing these companies go woke, guys. It's really that simple. If you really want to know why it's happening, it is because there's a massive amount of money that is being transferred to a generation that is very LGBTQ friendly and very, very, very passionate about politics and social issues. Even though they might be ignorant on a lot of these issues, right? They're overwhelmingly ignorant. They don't really know much about it. They're passionate about their ignorance, okay? And that leads me to this quick conversation about ESG investing, okay? Which is environmental, social, and governance investing, okay? Now, this is from Vanguard's website. And they basically tell you what it's about, okay? It's about investing in companies that are, quote unquote, sustainable, right? And socially responsible. Well, again, why are they creating these funds, guys? Well, they're creating these funds because of all that wealth, those assets. Again, we're talking about upwards of $68 trillion that has been inherited by, kids, right? People that are overwhelmingly conscious about this type of stuff, okay? Like, yeah, they care about diversity and inclusion, voting rights. Again, this is what they're scoring companies based off of, okay? This type of stuff. Labor standards and employee relations. They are basically rating these companies with this score, okay? And these companies are incentivized to get their score up because guess what? That means that they can be a part of this ESG fund, okay? And you know how that benefits the company is because the more funds that this company is a part of, the more money that they get in terms of people buying their stock, okay? Buying the stock, increasing the value of the company, increasing the share price for shareholders. That is the feedback loop here that's happening, guys. Do you guys understand the incentive, right? These companies are incentivized to go woke because they see a demographic of consumers that are inheriting a ton of money that are woke. And then you have these financial services companies, these asset managers, creating these funds that basically serve as a catalyst effectively to amplify the wokeness because they're trying to appeal to the young people who are inheriting trillions of dollars of assets, okay? Trillions of dollars. They're trying to appeal to these young people saying, look, we have these woke funds, okay? And if you invest your money with us, then you're going to be investing responsibly. You're going to be investing in the next great woke thing, right? Or the next great woke company that agrees with your values, Okay, this is the marketing pitch. These kids, right, these people that care about this stuff, again, this liberal agenda here of ESG, they put their money into these funds, and these funds invest the money into these companies, like, for example, Anheuser-Busch, okay, who was obviously trying to get their ESG score up, and that increases the value of the stock, okay? That increases returns for shareholders at the company. Again, it's called stakeholder capitalism, right? That is essentially how stakeholder capitalism works. That's what's happening here. That's what's happening. And I need you guys to understand it, because we can't have a conversation about how to deal with it if we're not talking about the root problem or the root cause of why it's happening. A lot of conservatives aren't really digging deep into the feedback loop that has been created when we have an overwhelmingly LGBTQ friendly Generation Z, along with the great transfer of wealth happening with the creation of these ESG funds, and how all of that works together to result in what we're seeing today, which is, it looks like 7.9% of the total population is being amplified, almost as if they're 50% of the population, right? When people ask questions, why are we seeing this everywhere? Why are we seeing it? Well, quite literally, we're seeing it everywhere because of this feedback loop that I just explained to you guys. It's been amplified tremendously because of all the wealth and assets that Generation Z is inheriting from baby boomers, and the fact that they're overwhelmingly LGBTQ. And this is why they go so hard in regards to pushing this stuff in schools, because there's so much money at stake, okay? There's a ton of money at stake here, guys. And, I mean, this is just a word to the wise. I try to tell you guys this stuff, but, again, I'm trying to keep it real with you. Business influences politics, not the other way around. If you want to know why things are happening, you always follow the money, okay? When you follow the money trail, you can figure out exactly why things are happening, and it gives you a better perspective on why this stuff is happening, and also why boycotts like the one that's happening to Bud Light is so important, right? It's very, very, very important, because it is pushback against this very, very, very toxic feedback loop that has been created due to the circumstances that we're facing in this country in regards to the great transfer of wealth. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.